What's up, Flatline Youth? Cody here with you guys once again, bringing you your daily Devo. At the moment, I actually just snuck away. All the kids are getting a bath, so I snuck away for a little bit and thought this was a good time just to do our next Devo. Hey, anytime you can, just to slip away and to make sure you spend some time with God, do it. It's well worth it. Making it a habit, doing it every day. Keep doing it. Whatever you got to do. So for me today, it's sneaking away during bath time. So here we go. We're in Mark chapter 9, going through the book of Mark, starting in verse 14, and we're going to get through all the way through 32 today. So join me now in Mark chapter 9, verse 14. And when they came to the disciples, they saw a great crowd around them and scribes arguing with them. And immediately all the crowd, when they saw him, were greatly amazed and ran up to him and greeted him. And he asked them, "What are you arguing about with them?" And someone from the crowd answered him, "Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a spirit that makes him mute. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able." And he answered them, "O faithless generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him to me." And they brought the boy to him, and when the spirit saw him, immediately it convulsed the boy, and he fell on the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked his father, "How long has this been happening to him?" And he said, "From childhood. And it has often cast him into fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." And Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible for the one who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out and said, "I believe, help my unbelief." And when Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "You mute and deaf spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again." And after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out, and the boy was like a corpse, so that most of them said he is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had entered the house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could we not cast it out?" And Jesus said to them, "This kind cannot be driven out by anything but prayer." They went on from there, and passing through Galilee, he did not want anyone to know, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, "The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him. And when he is killed, after 3 days he will rise again." But they did not understand the saying, and were afraid to ask him. I read this amazing story of this boy who gets healed. And there's a couple things that I want to just touch on really fast while I've got you here just for a couple minutes. And the first was this. I believe it was the father of the boy saying to Jesus, like, "If you can do anything, please have compassion on us." And Jesus' response is like, "If I can do anything, I've got to be," if I'm Jesus, I'm probably thinking, "What do you mean if I can do anything? Have you not heard about what I've done? Have you not seen the people that I've healed, the demons I've cast out, the people I've raised from the dead? Have you not heard about me feeding the 5,000 or even the 4,000 after that? What do you mean if I can?" Anything is possible for him who believes. Anything is possible. This is Jesus' response to this father who says, "If you can do anything, please have compassion on us." What do you mean, if I can? We underestimate sometimes the power of Jesus, the power of God. We serve a mighty King, a mighty Lord, a mighty Savior who is sovereign, meaning he is in control. Whenever you feel like your life is just spinning out of control, it's chaotic, we need to remember God is sovereign. Jesus is sovereign. He is in control. We don't have to worry about this. He knows what's happening, not only in our lives right now in this moment, but he knows what's going to happen. Jesus knows. God knows. He is with us. He is for us. And so he responds, anyone who believes, what does it say? Let's go back in here. All things are possible for the one who believes. And then the father, cries out, "I believe, I believe." And then the boy is healed. So just very interesting response there as we see just some doubt entering the mind of people thinking like, if you can heal him, Jesus, please heal him. So another thought that I had reading through this, and I'm just trying to find it here. Um, his disciples, here it is, at the end, his disciples asked him, why couldn't we cast this demon out of this boy? And Jesus answered by saying, this kind can only be driven out by prayer. And I don't remember Jesus praying in this passage. And something that I wonder reading this is Jesus just constantly in prayer? We've all heard that saying, or that it's actually a Bible verse that says, pray without ceasing. Is Jesus always in this communication with God? Are we always in this communication with God to make sure that we are connected with Him? Sometimes if we don't talk to people for a long time, we can kind of forget things about each other and forget who they are. When's the last time that you've talked to Jesus, that you've talked to God? Are you staying in tune with that connection? And then lastly, as we wrap it up today, Jesus foretells of his death and resurrection for the second time to his disciples. And so he basically is saying, I'm going to be handed over. I'm going to be killed, but I'm going to rise from the dead. I'm going to be resurrected. And the disciples still don't understand this. And they respond by saying, well, actually, they don't respond. We find out in this passage that they were afraid to ask Jesus what he meant by this. They didn't understand it, and they were afraid to ask him. And I wonder what would have happened if they just asked him. If they wouldn't have been afraid to do that, because Jesus is doing life with these disciples and teaching these disciples, certainly he would have had a conversation with them. He wouldn't have, lost it on them. I imagine he just would have spoke clearly, like he's done before. When the disciples didn't understand a parable, Jesus would explain it to them. So lots of just interesting things. And I'd love to hear what you got out of this passage. So not only for yourself, but starting with yourself, I want you to write down in your journal what you learned today. What did you learn about Jesus? What did you learn about God? What did you learn that you can apply to your life? What's something from this passage that you find unique, something you didn't think about before? Write it down and just share it with me. I just want to talk to you guys about this. I want to grow together in our relationship with Christ. And I just want to see us seek his kingdom first above all things. And I believe that we can do that when we do these studies together and we talk through it and we keep each other accountable to live this kind of life. So thank you again for joining me. I love this time with you guys and just reading the word. It's so edifying. It's so good. So I will see you guys next time. Looks like we're probably going to finish up most of chapter 9, if not the whole thing. So way to hang in there. We'll see you guys tomorrow.